All right, this is the Business Review segment of the Profit Point Show. Now we want to talk about scaling up our businesses, especially small and medium scale enterprises. When we talk about scaling up, it is not only about growth, it is about innovation, impact and resilience, and that is why we bring to you someone in that field who has knowledge about how to scale up small businesses and tell us what we should do, especially small and medium enterprises owners. Our guest today is Anna Dennis, who joined us via Zoom, and she'll be talking about scaling up small businesses in Africa. Anna, good morning.
Good morning to you. It's a pleasure being on your platform today. Thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you for joining us on the Profit Point Show. Now, when we talk about scaling up, what does it mean? Does scaling up mean having something additional, or you are starting all over, or you are starting afresh with the business ideas that you have? So let's know what scaling up really means in business terms.
Well, if you look at scaling, to scale from a very layman's perspective, you definitely understand that it means that you are going higher from the particular level that you're at to another level, which definitely must and should be positive. And when we look at it from the business angle and also in Africa, we understand that we're trying to move from just you serving a particular community or an immediate environment to in another state, to a national level, and even to a continent level. It means that you're trying to close an industrial gap in the sense that you're trying to establish yourself as a very strong dominant producer in that particular field, or should I use the word giver of services, provider of services in that particular land to another place in a very, very effective manner. So to take, for example, if I own a bakery, I do not want to see scaling as me just buying a particular one oven. I want to look at scaling as me being able to have my bread and all of my products across several supermarkets in, let's say, in Abeokuta right now, and also beyond Abeokuta in Lagos, in Osun State, in Ogun State, several local governments, several areas. That is what scaling should mean to me as a business owner, and that's what scaling should also be to the audiences who are currently listening.
Okay, so is scaling limited to those who are mainly having the production of products? Let me put it that way. Does it apply to those who provide services too, or those who help in some consultations and not the physical aspect of the business sector?
Thank you for that question. Definitely, it's not just about you being able to produce. For the example I gave, you having a local bakery, but it could also be you providing services to people. If you're a teacher, for example, who teaches just 1 to 2 students in your environment as a private lesson teacher, you should be able to scale up your services to be able to get to people outside of your community, outside of your country, outside of your state, by ensuring that you embrace a lot of technology these days. For example, you can use WhatsApp, you can use Zoom that we are currently using to do this particular feature right now, because technology has come to stay. And as business owners, as service providers who are willing to scale up, who are willing to go beyond what we are in right now, you have to be able to embrace technology. So it's beyond what you just producing. If you're a service provider, it's also good here.
Okay, now let's talk about strategies that must be considered when you are scaling up. What are the things that you have seen that business owners do wrongly when they are scaling up? What are the way forward? What should be the steps in scaling up whatever business they want to scale up?
Okay, for business owners, especially SMEs, most of them get to start out with employees who are family members. They're just maybe helpers who just come to their business centers to come and help them do 1 or 2 things. But then that would be a problem if you yourself, as a person who wants to scale up, continues to use that particular service without thinking of hiring experts. So one thing that you have to do to avoid any sort of business problem as a person who wants to scale up is to hire experts in your business. by hiring experts means that they already know exactly what they're doing. So even if there are problems per se, then it means that they should be able to solve it in a very professional way. Also, there's a problem of SMEs not having proper records of what they sell or the services that they produce and the ROI, that is the return on investment that they get to have. So if that problem is fixed, you can fix that problem by going into digitalization, in the sense that you can have bookkeeping software like Keeper, like the Deloitte, where you can write down exactly what you've sold for that day. It will help you with a paper trail if you're a producer of product. So those kind of things can help you ensure that your business is seeing exactly what you want to see, because you can be able to track it. You can also get to involve other sorts of digitalization like WhatsApp. For example, you're able to have customers message you on your WhatsApp number, and of course once you handle it, because you're really trying to wrap up your head around newer ideas, around how to make your services better. So you have a professional handling, let's call it customer relations, which is the right word. So they get to help you handle your customers' requests, your customer services, and by so doing, you have been able to share the sector of the work across people, across departments, and that's a way that you can be able to grow your business higher. So if you do not accept all of these sort of solutions that I have mentioned, and also so many other solutions that are across the world, then definitely there will be a problem in your business, because you will definitely still be at that particular place that you are at, rather than scaling up to where other individuals who are doing similar business with you are.
Okay, now a lot of small businesses in Nigeria and across Africa are being operated as a means of survival. And when we talk about survival, they just want to make profit to be enough for them to cater for themselves daily. So how can Africans or Nigerians who operate in the small and medium-scale enterprises sector move from the survival mode to sustainable growth mode? Because that is what we need if we want the sector to grow and become innovative. We must move from being a survival to sustaining the growth of the economy. So how can they move now from survival to sustainable growth, especially in Africa that we are looking out for?
One of the ways is for you to first of all open your mind that you have to stop being a provider of services to one community or to one person, or to be able to produce goods for your immediate community, but because your services are needed across the world, across the continent, and across states. So you should be able to have ideas that can meet up with those persons. So after you're done opening your mind, then you can start to see how your products can be in demand. Now, for example, you want to scale up your business, you also have to consider the fact if your business if the demand is more than the supply. So if, for example, you see that what your demand is the demand for your product or for your services is more than supply, then you know that you're definitely doing well with your business. You know that you have been able to shift from survival all the way to sustainable mode. So that's the first thing first. You have to ensure that if the services that you produce, that you get to give out, that the goods that you get to produce is something that is very essential. So you have to start producing essential goods for that community that you want to give it out to, or to that particular state or to that particular country that you want. So for such kind of things, you have been able to do. Also, you have to scale up your business in the sense that you need to be, like I mentioned earlier, track record. If you're a business that has a track record of every single thing, you're able to know that if I'm selling soap today, and I know that I'm getting ₦1 for my soap, I'm getting ₦2 from each soap that I get to sell, and you're able to cumulatively give the amount, the exact amount that you're able to give. You know that you're not running in a loss. You know that you're constantly being able to also pay other people. Then with that, you can say that you're staying moving from survival mode to sustainable mode. Because when it comes to SMEs, you see that in other countries, a country like Germany, you see SMEs that have been helped by that country are producers of really large-scale goods and services and products. You see your data technology, you see your machine tools, all of them are gotten from countries like Germany. And Germany has, their economy is backed, 57% of their jobs are based on SMEs, family-based SMEs, family-based medium businesses. So we want to come to that particular state in Africa, in Nigeria and beyond, where we can have SMEs backing up countries, where we can have SMEs backing up our economy, where we can have SMEs being providers of job and lifting people out of poverty. So that is when we start to know that we have moved from just being a subsistence system of SMEs to a system, a very strong backing system of business in Africa.
Okay, another thing that some people are pointing out to becoming a limiting factor for SMEs to grow from barely surviving to creating the innovative that we really need in Africa is that the funding aspect of these scaling up is not forthcoming. So why do you think funding or getting loans or getting people to finance the small and medium scale enterprises is becoming a challenge? Is it the fault, is it from the business owners themselves, or from the society, or from their client? Their client can also be a factor to consider. Have you seen any of these becoming a problem to scaling up businesses when it comes to financing?
Thank you very much for that question. You see, when you want to go get loans from the bank, you have to have collateral. And for a small and medium scale enterprise business in Africa or in Nigeria, they definitely might not be able to have land or have a house or have a very huge property that they can give out to the bank and say that if I do not pay back in so and so time, you can take this and use to repay, because nobody wants to do business in a loss. And banks are holding people's money, and if you're able to give out people's money to somebody, I expect that I get my returns back and also be able to provide such money to people. So one of the problems is the fact that SMEs do not have enough collaterals to be able to exchange for the money that they get from the bank. Also, another problem that they have is the fact that SMEs do not have a standardized record keeping, in the sense that they just do it manually, or not even if they do it in a digital way, they probably do not have it very much recorded in a very proper way that can help them access other kind of funds like grants. So if you do not have such kind of labeled bookkeeping for the amount of money that you get in for your business, then it will be a problem. And there are other sorts of funding initiatives that SMEs can be able to go through. We have grants, we have venture capitals, we have angel investors, and all of these are accessible. But before you're able to access that, are you able to clearly state exactly the kind of services that you give? Are you able to state exactly the kind of problems that has been able to solve? Are you also able to state exactly where your business is going? So if you're able to state all of this, then funding issues should not be a problem, because you have grants like Tony Elumelu Foundation in Africa. You're able to access such kind of grants because they are able to see clearly exactly where you are going with your business. So even if you need $100 million and they are able to afford it, because they have been able to see what you can do with your business, the problems that are solved, and how systematically you are with it, then you should be able to access that.
So invariably, if you are not a registered company in any country that you operate from in Africa, all of this financing won't come easy. Is that what you're saying?
Definitely. Yes, that's actually one of the great solutions to that. You also have to be able to register your business, because if your business is not registered and I want to transfer money to you as a business owner, because these days we're all going cashless, you want to be able to transfer money, and my business name, what appears is Hannah Omoka Fedin, rather than something like Omoka First Ventures. That would be a problem, because I would feel like you're not serious. But if I want to transfer money to you and I see that your business is registered and the bank name is a company's name, it helps, it gives you a more better professional face. It gives you a better outlook to the customer, to the consumer, and to the service receiver. So you actually have to register your business and every other thing that comes with that.
Okay, another major stakeholder in this upscaling of businesses, especially small and medium scale, is the government. And when those business owners want to talk, especially the SMEs, they want to point out some fault from the government to the people who wants them to upscale. And one of the major problems that they point out is the policies of the government as regards businesses or how they operate and what is obtainable in other climes. So how do you think the government policies or government regulations in the business circle is affecting those who want to scale up from the small level to the higher level?
It's actually a very huge problem. And one of the things I think can be solved is the fact that policies that are implemented, policies that are defined, they need to be implemented in the way that it should favor the masses and not just the government alone. So it's not just about bringing in funds, but for the businesses that they have there, is it enough? Is it getting the exact solutions that is needed? Take, for example, if I have a small business in Abeokuta and I want to be able to transport to Lagos, how much of the money will be required for me to be able to transfer it from this state at the toll gate to another state? So that's the problem that we have. Do we get to have a lot of security officials who are constantly wanting to get their course before I get into the exact place that I want it? So we have regulations that stops all of this kind of problems, where it says that I can be able to get my business across another state by just paying a very regulated fine in the government office, and once I show my receipt at the gate, I'm able to move across. That's going to be very perfect policy. As if implemented, is going to execute a very positive influence on businesses across Africa, across Nigeria.
Okay, now let's talk about another thing. And by January 2026, and that policy of the government will come in full force, that is taxation. So what regulatory barriers do you think taxation will bring to those SMEs who want to scale up their businesses? Is that going to be a problem for them? How would they fit into the new tax regime that the government will be introducing fully by January 2026? Are they going to be in the net of those that must pay and they forward to the government before they can do some things under the law? Is this something that SMEs should worry about when it comes to taxation?
I think it's a thing to worry about, because if I'm just starting my business, I do not want to start paying a lot of money to the government when I know that I've not been able to get back, my profit. I think there should be a solution called tax holiday. That's what I would like to call it, in the sense that if I'm in an SME, if my business is a small and medium scale enterprise, I should get a 2 to 3 years waiver where I'm able, no matter the amount of money I get, I should be able to keep all of them for myself and for the products and services that I'm giving out to. And so when I pass that, it means that I've been able to graduate and my business is still intact, then the government can start to tax me. Because if I'm just starting a business today and by January the tax is coming and they say that if I'm making more than 800,000 naira annually, then I should be able to pay tax. That will be a problem, because as small SMEs, some people do not just get to start in their houses. They have to rent shops, they have to be able to buy equipment, they have to be able to pay for facilities, pay for services and the rest of that. Now if I'm able to pay for all of those things, what is left, and then they come and collect tax from me, I think that will be a problem, and definitely going to be something that kills the spirit of SMEs in Africa, in Nigeria, which we're talking about as regards to taxation. So we should do something called tax holiday, where small SMEs that are just 2 to 3 years old can be able to waive tax off until they are strong enough to pay.
So how can small businesses become investors ready? Because if you are scaling up and you have gone to the level of sustaining your business, you want to have a lot of money, and having a lot of money, you want some partners, you want collaboration, sometimes you want people to join you in your business, and those people that you want to invite into your business can be an investor. So how can a small business be investor ready before they can call on anybody to come and partner with them or re-engineer their business with them?
I think you have to start with first registering your business.
Okay.
Because if your business is not registered, then there is no document for you to be able to provide to the investors that are coming. Now, after you're done registering your business and you have a standard name that no matter what happens, they know you for this business, then you should be able to also have something called a niche document, in the sense that you are known for a particular product. If I mention Dangote right now, what comes to your mind? Cement. So he started from somewhere, and look at him, he's global right now. So do you want to be global too? You also have to have something like that where everybody knows you from. So if everybody knows you from, so if I should mention Hannah right now, everybody should know to me, somebody who produces spaghetti, and so they know that this is me. So when investors come, you do not really have to do so much because everybody already knows your name and what you're doing already. Also, there's also something we call standardization, in the sense that as a small business owner, if I'm selling food, then I should be able to record the ingredients that I know that whenever I use such proportions of ingredients, everybody likes the food, everybody loves the food, and everybody wants to keep buying more. So I already have it written down, I already have it recorded. So when I scale up, when I grow, and I'm able to start selling start selling 500 plates a day, it should still be the same standard. That way, when investors come and constantly come to check, they're able to see that we are maintaining standard, we are maintaining the kind of value that people were able to get, even while we're still small. Not because now we're increasing now and then you see that the value is dropping because we're not able to keep up. We want to still be able to keep up, and by keeping up, it means that you have to be a very good record keeper. And if you cannot do that, then you also have to employ professionals to help you do that. That way, you're increasing yourself, you're increasing your value, you're increasing your business, and investors can boldly invest in your business.
Okay, now before we allow you go, let's talk about digital involvement or technology in scaling up. A lot of businesses now use the devices to transport, devices for some deliveries, devices for some marketing and branding too. And if we want to be innovative enough, I know that we want to employ the use of technology or digital tools in ensuring that we scale up. What are the tools that you think business owners need this time before they can scale up using the technology and also fitting to making profit and making people come to buy from them?
It could be as little as having a WhatsApp number, a very professional WhatsApp business number, in the sense that people can have that. You can have that as a tag on your packaging materials, on your leathers, on your bags that you get to use to give out to people your products. And then the message is to know that immediately we are getting response. Like, hello, I want to buy this, and boom, somebody answers. That's technology. No matter how little that we might put that as. Also, you also have to have a very high sense of innovation constantly innovating, because technology is not waiting for anybody. Technology constantly moves. So if you know that technology has moved to the point where AI is definitely needed in your business, then you should be able to learn, you should be able to scale. It's not just scaling your business, you as the owner of the business, is your skills also increasing with that? Are you able to understand the digital market? Are you able to understand the digital tools that is needed for your business to be able to grow? Those are the kind of factors that are needed for your business to become standard, for your business to become a digital one. So you're moving from not just answering people physically, but you're also moving to answering people in a very digital way. So WhatsApp, it is product innovation. You will have websites too, where people, not just people coming to text you on WhatsApp, but people can have a website where they can just go there to order. So if I'm a vendor, a clothes vendor, living somewhere in the Kogi State, living somewhere in Rwanda, I want to be able to have somebody from Nigeria going and buying something from my website in Rwanda, and also being able to get it across to me in Nigeria in a very fast way.
Okay. Lastly, what lessons do you think African countries can learn from SMEs, from other CLIME or other SME-driven countries who focus more on the SMEs and grow them more? Do Africans have any lesson to learn from them? Do we have any any gap to bridge? Do you have things to borrow from them and use in Africa?
Yes, we have a lot to learn from them. We have policies. Let's say, for example, in Germany, like I mentioned earlier, they have a very strong family, medium enterprises funding, in the sense that once they see that you're a family-oriented business, they get to fund it really perfectly, and that helps to scale up medium enterprises in Germany. Now imagine a family-based business in Nigeria, in Africa, experiencing such kind from the government. That's definitely very strong backing. I've been seeing cases where, like just in Germany, 57% of the jobs that have security have gotten from from SMEs, from the medium-scale enterprises, we can have such kind of things coming straight down to Nigeria, down to Africa, lifting poverty, giving people jobs, giving people employment, such kind of things, such kind of lessons are what we should be getting from these countries. And it's not just in Germany alone. We also have countries like Singapore that have a little stand where it's called the little stand there, where constantly innovation is being popped into, being pulled into such kind of businesses where it's not just about them selling physically to people like I mentioned earlier. We're also having a very standard digitalized market so that they can be able to sell not just to their immediate community, but also outside of their community. So when we're able to embrace these lessons from these countries, from this particular local government and local market spread across, then also we would definitely be having an SME that provides more than 80% of what we need in our country.
All right, thank you so much, Anna Dennis, for talking to us there on scaling up small businesses in Africa. And from what you said, if you scale up businesses in Africa, we can help in job creation, it can reduce poverty, and also help us to sustain our economic growth. Thank you for your time on the program.
Thank you for having me.
All right, thank you. And now we'll be going for a short break. Our short break will take us to the second segment of the Profit Point Show here on OGTV, and that segment is a sectorial segment.